A supposedly woke comedian recently made an appearance on MSNBC, and her name is Liza Traeger, or maybe it's Lisa Traeger. I'm not sure because I'm not familiar with this individual. I had no idea who she was until this segment, but I'm no longer living in ignorant bliss. None of us are, because we now unfortunately know who this person is, and she decided to share her views on politics with us. And they were doing a segment called Fallback Friday. Now, I didn't know that this is a segment that MSNBC does, but I'm sad that I wasn't included, because my recommendation would have been for the entire network of MSNBC to fall back, because they are garbage. But nonetheless, I don't want to go down that tangent. Liza Traeger, she's not as woke as she wants us to believe. So I'm going to show you what she said in an inexplicable random ass rant against Bernie Sanders. And then we're going to talk about how she was quickly exposed almost immediately after saying this on MSNBC.
Who else needs to fall back?
Bernie Sanders, fall back. Your year was 2016 and it really wasn't. Please get away from us. I just think it's like fetch. Whoa. It's not going to happen. He also, I think you're disheveled, you're unlikable, and you're pushy. Whoa. And I don't think you should be leading anybody. If you couldn't control your campaign and what your employees were doing and harassing and paying women unfairly in your campaign, I don't know why you would lead a country or think you can. And we saw with the flipping of the House and everyone voting, everyone's really excited for young female candidates, especially women of color. And we need men to get as excited about women as women are. And that's the only way to do real change. And I'm kind of sorry, guys, but I'm just like sick of old white dudes. Like, go away.
Okay.
Let's go.
I'll go to Croft
I guess
forever.
that was a cue.
You know, when I was watching that, the only thing that I could think was, man, it must be really nice to be able to be privileged enough to make a decision on who you're voting for based exclusively on the identity of the politician. You know, I see that Bernie Sanders wants to make healthcare free at the point of service, which would literally save lives, but I have healthcare, so fuck everyone else. I'm going to vote for someone who makes me feel better. So if he's an old white man and I don't feel like voting for an old white man, then I'm not going to vote for an old white man. Fuck all those people whose lives would be saved literally from his policies. Ain't I funny? Am I not a good comedian? Don't you like how I am, speaking truth to power? I mean, what are you talking about? This is someone who doesn't know anything about politics. Now, I don't know anything about Liza Traeger, but it's clear that she doesn't know anything about politics, and you could surmise that about her just from watching that short clip. And she said this: your year was 2016, and it really wasn't. Get away from us. Get away from us. His year was 2016. He was a no-named senator from Vermont. Nobody in the country knew who Bernie Sanders was. He went on to win 22 states and nearly defeat the political machine that is the Clintons. And he did all of this, nearly beat her in the midst of the DNC rigging the primary against him. So if you're saying 2016 was his year, but really it wasn't, we can agree there. Because 2020 will hopefully be his actual year. But then she says, get away from us. You're not doing anything. Get away. You're stupid. Like, do you not realize that just a couple of months ago, he unilaterally got 350,000 Amazon and Whole Food workers raises? Do you not realize that? What are you doing? Are you out there on the streets fighting for unions, fighting for workers, advocating for Medicare for all? What are you doing that you want him to get away from us? You're saying what you think will get you applause. And I mean, you were right because you're on MSNBC, but MSNBC doesn't exist in a vacuum. People who support Bernie enthusiastically because he's going to implement policies that will save their lives will see what you said and get pissed. And they did. Now, she also says here, also, I think you're disheveled, you're unlikable, and you're pushy, and I don't think you should be leading anybody if you couldn't control your own campaign. So the point about him being unlikable and pushy, there was a point made on Chapo Trap House that Kyle Kulinski talked about recently about how the reason why there's this hyper-focus on policy when it comes to Bernie Sanders is because all of the fluff is gone. There's no illusion that, there's this cult of personality or that people only like him because he's well-spoken and handsome. He's an old man, and you see directly what he stands for. he stands for Medicare for all, tuition-free public colleges and universities. So, I mean, you see him for what he is. So you may see that that's unlikable because he's not charismatic. But that's what actually makes him appealing in a roundabout way. It's because there's no fluff there and bullshit. She also, she alluded to the article in the New York Times. We're going to get to that in a different video where I talk about Chuck Todd talking about that, and I'll tell you my thoughts there. But basically, what she's saying here is incredibly ignorant because the implication that if sexual harassment exists in your campaign, which is not a Bernie problem, it's an America problem, then you are not qualified. Okay, well, will you come out and say that Kamala Harris also isn't qualified because one of her top aides just resigned last month? Nobody on the network you're on is talking about this. Hillary Clinton, I'm assuming you voted for her in 2016. Maybe Google how she actually refused to take meaningful action when one of her staffers was sexually harassed. It's clear that these people are just superficial. They don't like Bernie because they have this visceral reaction to them. The only thing they care about is the identity. And she alluded to this. Everyone's really excited for young female candidates, especially women of color. Well, riddle me this, genius. Why were we all excited about young female candidates? Why were we excited? Name just one policy that any of the freshman congresswomen brought to the table that you're excited for. Name one. I doubt that she could, because she's missing the point that the reason why we were all excited about these female candidates isn't because they were women, even though that's great. I think that descriptive representation for women in Congress, we should reach parity. That's a goal in and of itself. But the reason why we were excited is because there's substance behind women like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib. We're not supporting them because, ooh, they're women. We're supporting them because of the policies. And you know that she would agree that policy is more important because if you ask her if she'd support someone like Sarah Palin or Carly Fiorina, I think she'd say unequivocally, no, I would never support them. So you've got to understand that even though identity, that's part of life, and we need to make sure that we are trying our best to get descriptive representation in Congress. What matters most to people whose lives are affected by policy the most, poor people, marginalized communities, people of color, is not the identity of the politician, it's the policies of the politicians. But this is someone who clearly is ignorant. But I bet that she was expecting that or hoping that that would come off as some edgy rant when it's not edgy, you're just misinformed. Now, she wants you to think, I alluded to this, that she's the wokest person in America. You know, she's so sick of old white dudes. Well, apparently she's also sick of people of color and marginalized communities as well, because if you go back through her Twitter history, she said some racist and homophobic things that I think matter now, and she said them recently. So in 2013, she said, quote, "By filthy, do you mean Mexican?" I mean, you're not woke if you said something like that in 2013. Now, I hope that her views evolved since then, but you're not fucking woke. Shut the fuck up. She also said, "I've heard jokes that are funny that use fag. It's someone 4 minutes." I don't know what that means. Aren't you for free speech? Confused. That was in December of 2016. So if you don't support the use of fag in particular jokes, then you're against free speech. That's what she said in 2016. You are not woke. Sit down, actually learn a thing or two from the women in Congress you claim to care about, and then get back to us. In 2013, she made jokes about accidentally liking Asian profiles on Tinder, and she said that dating an Asian is like dating someone with one arm. So we've got a double whammy there because she's being both racist and ableist. Now, she tweeted about this in response saying, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed about old bad tweets that were found. I was so shocked to see them. Like, is that really me? At first I was mad because it's like, can you at least wait till I'm successful and have money before you fuck with me? But now I'm just grateful to see what a better and smarter person and comic I am."
Sorry guys, but I'm just like sick of old white dudes. Like, go away.
Yes, you've improved so much, Liza or Lisa. And I love how, I'm so embarrassed about all of these old tweets. One of these were from 2016. They're not that old. I think you're probably pretending to be ignorant about the things that you said, but I mean, this is your words. I thought you were woke. She continues, the tweets are so hateful, dumb, and not funny. I'm truly humiliated and am sorry for my younger self who didn't know better, but like I said, it's nice to see culture move forward and be able to move forward with it and yada yada yada, so on and so forth. You know, it's the same thing we've come to expect from pseudo-woke Hollywood elites. And look, I am 100% on board with people if they admit that they said things that were wrong and they evolved. People can change. But I mean, you can't just talk shit and present yourself as this woke comedian if you're going to be saying things like this. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. Nobody knows who this individual is, but I mean, she went on MSNBC and decided to spread misinformation about Bernie Sanders. So, I mean, that's something that's harmful. You're hurting the grassroots, people who are poor, people of all colors and orientations and genders who are poor, who are fighting to get him elected, and you just hurt them, Liza, by going on an anti-Bernie propaganda network. And yeah, so I hope that you feel happy about yourself. You made a name for yourself here. It's for good or bad, but I'm sure that now you'll have a career because there are plenty of anti-Bernie shows on that network that will be more than willing to hire you since you said that. So congratulations. Hopefully you accomplished what you sought out to accomplish by going on Ari Melber and making that brave rant about Bernie Sanders. So stupid. You're so woke, Liza.
And I don't think we're actually reading anything. I think for me, it's just headlines, Twitter, and what my friends tell me.
That's how most
scary.
people are reacting
Yeah.
to things. Yeah.
That's why when people are like, you don't have a grasp on modern politics, I'm like, I'm sure you're right, but I don't think you
Right.
have more than me.
Right.
I just don't buy that they're smarter than me.
And you're a
Yeah.
comedian. Your job is to be funny and entertaining, and you did that.
Yeah, they're just evil. I don't know what their goal is. Go to work.
Mike is a total loser, so don't hit the subscribe button, okay? And whatever you do, folks, do not hit the notification bell either. Mike treats me so unfairly.